world can feel like a battlefield. One moment, everything is serene, and the next, it's chaos. The sound of honking cars, the flood of messages, the constant pull of distractions. It all feels like an endless tug of war for your attention. You try to focus, but it's like your mind has a mind of its own, running wild with worries and noise. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, to think that peace is an illusion, just out of reach. But what if I told you that the chaos you're feeling isn't the real enemy? What if I told you the real struggle isn't with the world around you, but with your mind, the mind that, if left unchecked, will drive you into despair and anxiety? We live in a world that tells us to react, to feel everything, to get lost in the chaos. But what if the answer lies in something far simpler? What if peace isn't something you find outside yourself, but something you cultivate within? This isn't just some philosophy from a dusty old book. This is the wisdom of the Stoics, a school of thought that has helped people for centuries not only survive but thrive in the chaos of life. The Stoics believed that peace of mind isn't about controlling the world around you. It's about mastering your response to it. When the storm comes, they didn't fight it. They stayed anchored in their own minds. It's like learning to sail, knowing that the wind will always shift, but your course can still remain steady if you know how to adjust your sails. This isn't some magical mindset that only works for a select few. It's a practice, a skill you can develop, just like any other. The real power of Stoicism is understanding that the only thing you have control over in life is your own reaction. External events, they're out of your hands. But how you respond, that's all on you. That's where the true freedom lies. It's in choosing how to perceive the world, in training your mind to stay calm, no matter what storm is raging outside. Think about it for a second. Have you ever noticed how, when you let your mind run wild, it feels like the world is falling apart? That's because your mind amplifies everything. It turns little annoyances into huge problems. But when you take a step back, when you breathe, when you choose not to react, suddenly, the chaos doesn't feel as overwhelming. It's still there, yes, but it doesn't control you. You control how you respond. The Stoics weren't trying to escape from life's difficulties. They were learning how to face them with grace and resilience. And so can you. Today, we'll dive into how to train your mind to stop being a passenger in your own life and start being the captain. You can find peace in the chaos. It just takes practice. And believe me, once you've mastered this skill, nothing can shake your inner calm. So, how do you begin? It's simple. Start by recognizing that you have a choice to react, or a choice to remain steady. The storm may rage on, but you'll be anchored in calm. Tomas had spent years thinking that being in control meant keeping everything inside, burying his frustrations and pretending nothing bothered him. He was good at hiding his emotions, too good. But as the pressure built, so did the cracks in his armor. The anger that had been simmering beneath the surface for so long finally broke free. And when it did, it was ugly. What Tomas didn't realize was that his anger wasn't a result of the things happening around him. It was a reflection of everything he'd been carrying for years. All those unspoken frustrations, the disappointments, the failures to express himself, they were like a ticking time bomb waiting to go off. The night he exploded, the catalyst seemed trivial, but that was the thing. His anger had nothing to do with the noise the neighbors made or the broken toaster. It had everything to do with the pressure building up from years of ignoring his feelings, pretending to be okay when he wasn't. That night, everything hit him all at once, and he couldn't control it anymore. It felt like everything in his life was coming apart. Then came the turning point. Tomas, broken and exhausted, found himself in the park at dawn, scrolling through his phone in a haze. That's when he stumbled upon the words that would change his life. You can't control what happens, but you can control how you respond. It was as if the universe was speaking directly to him. Tomas had always thought that controlling his circumstances was the key to peace. But this message was different. It wasn't about controlling life. It was about controlling himself. And for the first time, it made sense. Tomas dove into the world of Stoicism, and it was like unlocking a door to a new way of thinking. The teachings of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca spoke to him in a way he couldn't ignore. They didn't promise an easy life. They promised a peaceful mind. A mind that could remain calm even when life was chaotic. For someone like Tomas, that was revolutionary. He'd spent so much of his life trying to control the uncontrollable. The idea that peace came from within, from how he responded to the world, felt like a lifeline. He started small. He would breathe before responding to anger, take a step back before reacting. When he felt that familiar pressure building in his chest, he learned to pause, to observe, to let the emotions pass instead of letting them control him. And yes, he failed sometimes. The old habits didn't die overnight. But Tomas was no longer trapped. He began to realize that true power wasn't in reacting to every little thing, but in choosing how to respond. He started to understand that true control was never about making the world bend to his will. It was about mastering his own mind, finding peace in the chaos, and knowing that even when things felt out of control, he could always choose how to react. Slowly, Tomas became a new version of himself, calmer, more centered, less reactive. He learned that it's not about avoiding anger or pretending that life is perfect. It's about accepting the storm, but choosing not to let it drown you. And that change, that shift in how he saw the world, made all the difference. Tomas finally understood that the power to change his life was never in his circumstances. It was in his response to them. Have you ever had one of those days where everything seems to fall apart for no reason? You wake up with the best intentions, ready to conquer the day. But then, something small, a typo in an email, an offhand remark from a colleague, or a driver cutting you off, sends your mind into a tailspin. Suddenly, you're not in control anymore. Your mind has taken over. And now, it's like you're on a roller coaster of emotions. spiraling faster and faster. In moments like these, it's easy to feel like we're not in charge. It feels like our reactions are happening to us, rather than being choices we make. But here's the thing. Who's really in charge here? You, or your mind? Think about it. Your mind is like an untamed horse. If it's left unchecked, it runs wild, pulling you in every direction, with no regard for where you actually want to go. You get swept up in your thoughts, carried away by emotions that you didn't consciously choose. One small thing happens, and suddenly, it feels like the entire world is against you. But that's not the reality. That's the mind's power over you. And it's not the way things have to be. Stoicism teaches us a powerful lesson. We are not our thoughts. The way we react to events is not determined by what happens around us, but by how we choose to interpret those events. The key to peace, to control, lies not in the external world but in how we manage our internal world. Our thoughts shape our emotions, and our emotions shape our actions. So, if we learn to control our thoughts, we can control our reactions in, ultimately, our experience of the world. This doesn't mean we can stop life from throwing curveballs. It doesn't mean we'll never get frustrated or upset, but it does mean we have the power to change how we respond. Instead of letting the world dictate our emotions, we can choose to remain calm, centered, and focused, regardless of what's going on around us. Imagine for a moment, what if every time something went wrong, you could stop and pause instead of reacting immediately? What if, instead of letting your mind take you on an emotional roller coaster, you could simply observe your thoughts and decide not to let them control you? It's not about suppressing your emotions. It's about creating space between the event and your reaction. And in that space, choosing to remain calm. It's not easy, but it's possible. Just like training a wild horse, it takes practice, patience, and persistence. But with time, we can learn to take the reins of our mind, directing it where we want it to go, rather than letting it run us into chaos. So, who's in charge here? It's up to you. You can let your mind control you, or you can take control of your mind. The choice is yours, and the power to change your life is within your grasp. Imagine you're cruising down the highway, enjoying the smooth drive, the wind in your hair. Everything is perfect, and then, out of nowhere, a car cuts you off. Instantly, a rush of anger surges through you. Your heart races, your grip tightens on the steering wheel, and before you even have time to think, you're honking, shouting, and shaking your fist. Anger takes the wheel, and suddenly, you're no longer in control. It's like a runaway car, dragging you into a spiral of frustration and regret. Now, stop and think about it. Was that really worth it? That brief moment of rage may have felt powerful, but in the end, it doesn't change anything. If anything, it makes things worse. Anger clouds your judgment, distorts your perception, and pushes you further away from the calm and clarity that you truly desire. It can ruin your day, your relationships, and even your health. It's like tossing away your peace for the sake of a fleeting emotional explosion that doesn't solve anything. Seneca, The great Stoic philosopher once said, "The one who gets angry suffers more than the one who caused the offense." Think about that for a second. The person who cut you off might have moved on, completely unaware of your frustration. Meanwhile, you're carrying the weight of that anger. You're the one suffering, not them. And that's the tragedy of anger. It's not just a momentary reaction. It can have lasting consequences. It can rob you of your peace and leave you with regret, guilt, and a lingering bitterness. So, how do you stop this cycle? The key is learning to pause. When anger strikes, don't immediately react. Instead, take a step back, take a deep breath, count to 90, and give yourself a moment to let that rush of emotion pass. This simple act of pausing is more powerful than you think. It creates space between the stimulus, the trigger, and your reaction. In that space, you have the power to decide how to respond, rather than simply reacting out of instinct. Ask yourself, will this matter in a week? Will it even matter in an hour? This shift in perspective is like hitting the brakes on that runaway car. Suddenly, the anger doesn't seem as important. You realize that holding on to it is just giving away your power. And that's something you don't want to do. The more you practice this pause, the easier it becomes. Over time, you'll find yourself responding thoughtfully, with more control and less emotional reactivity. Anger will still come. Of course, it's a natural emotion. But now, instead of being swept away by it, you'll be able to observe it, manage it, and choose a better way to handle the situation. In the end, don't let anger rob you of your peace. It's not worth it. The moment you stop letting anger control you is the moment you take back your life. You regain control of your emotions, your reactions, and ultimately, your peace. Imagine being in the middle of a battlefield. The air is thick with tension, chaos swirling all around you. Soldiers are shouting commands, charging forward without thinking, reacting impulsively to every movement. But amidst all this noise and frenzy, there's one warrior standing tall, completely calm. His eyes are clear, his posture steady. He's not caught up in the madness. He's observing, calculating, waiting for the right moment to act. And when he does move, it's with precision, not desperation. This warrior embodies true strength. He understands something that most don't. Real power lies in staying calm when everything around you is crumbling. When the storm hits, when the world shakes, it's your calmness that gives you the ability to rise above, to lead, to make decisions that are measured, not driven by fear or impulse. While others flounder, reacting out of panic and frustration, you remain grounded, able to think clearly, and act decisively. That is the power of calm. In today's world, we're often led to believe that strength is loud. We think that the more we shout, the more we interrupt, the more we fight back against every perceived slight, the more powerful we become. It's as if the louder we are, the more we force our way through life, the more we are validated. But what if that's not true? What if real strength lies in the exact opposite? What if the most powerful people aren't the ones who can scream the loudest, but the ones who can stay calm, composed, and collected in the face of adversity? Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher and leader, understood this better than anyone. He wrote, "The best answer to anger is silence." These words carry so much weight because they remind us that true strength doesn't come from reacting to every provocation. It comes from the ability to hold back, to not let anger or frustration cloud your judgment. Silence is not weakness. It's a conscious decision to choose restraint over rashness. To rise above the noise and chaos around you. In the heat of conflict, when everyone around you is shouting and panicking, your ability to remain silent and calm is what sets you apart. It's not about being passive or indifferent. It's about having control over your emotions, your reactions, and your actions. Leaders aren't the ones who shout and demand attention. They are the ones who keep their composure when the pressure is on. Who make decisions with clarity and purpose, even when everything seems out of control. The person who can stay calm when everyone else is losing their head. That's the person who leads. So, calmness isn't for the weak. It's for those who understand that true strength comes from within. From the ability to rise above the noise, to not let the chaos of the world dictate your actions. It's for winners, the ones who know that staying calm is the key to winning. Not just in the battles of life, but in the moments that matter most. Let's be honest for a moment. Life isn't fair. You've worked hard, given your best, and tried to be kind, only to see someone else, who put in half the effort, get all the recognition. It's frustrating. It feels wrong. It feels like the universe is playing favorites. But here's the reality. Life's unfairness isn't something you can control. And fighting against it only drains you. So, what do you do when life throws this curveball at you? Do you complain? Do you get angry? Do you curse your fate? No, that won't change anything. In fact, it only keeps you trapped in a cycle of frustration and bitterness. What you can do, what you must do, is choose to act from a place of calm, from a place of acceptance. When you stop resisting the unfairness, when you let go of the need for life to be just, that's when you truly regain control. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, captured this truth perfectly when he said, "Don't ask for things to happen as you wish. Wish for them to happen as they do, and you will find peace." That's the key to moving forward. Accept life as it is, not as you wish it would be. You can't change the rain, but you can choose whether or not to let it ruin your day. Complaining about it won't make you dry. So, why waste your energy fighting something you can't control? Take Marta, for example. She had worked tirelessly for a promotion, always going above and beyond. She deserved it, no doubt. But when the decision came down, she was passed over. It was unfair. It stung. It felt like a punch to the gut. But instead of dwelling on the injustice, Marta chose to act from a place of calm. She accepted the situation for what it was, knowing that her hard work didn't go unnoticed. Even if her company failed to recognize it, she didn't let frustration dictate her next move. Instead, she took a step back, reevaluated her path, and eventually found a company that truly valued her skills and dedication. Marta's story isn't an anomaly. It's a powerful reminder that while life might not be fair, our response to it is entirely in our hands. When you stop fighting against the unfairness, you free yourself. You open the door to better opportunities, because you're no longer weighed down by anger or resentment. You choose peace, and in doing so, you regain your power. So, the next time life feels unfair, remember, you don't have to let it control you. Embrace the storm, accept the rain, and keep moving forward with a calm, steady resolve. Life may not be fair, but how you respond to it, that's your choice, and that's where your true power lies. Choose calm, choose peace, and watch how your life transforms.